I use a combination of, depends on the job. For color correction on the job, I will use a variety of different systems. A lot of times we'll use DP lights from Technicolor. There's the Pomfret live grade software. My friend has developed a system called C-Color. Just depends on what the job is, how fast you have to move, and what production is willing to pay for these color correction systems.
So with the live monitoring for some DPs, yes, I do. I set up a transmitter and I have that sent back to my receiver, which is hooked into my my monitor. So I'll have it on, if there are a couple of cameras, or if there are 4 cameras, then I'll ask VTR to loop them through. You know, I don't know how useful it is. I've done it.
And if they do want to look at something with a look, then I'll have a LUT box of some sort on my cart looking through log with a LUT on top of it, and we can start manipulating the look that way. And if, for example, if you're using Scratch, for example, if I have the live color coming to me and then using live grade or something like that, if I can pull a shot off the camera, load it into my computer, create a look that way, save it, and then that's what's loaded directly into my LUT box. So now I can manipulate that any way I'd want, I choose, and usually I have a little bit more precision. I have a love-hate relationship with live color. When I first started in video, it was what you're coloring is permanent. What you're doing is permanent. They may be able to do a little bit with it, but what you're doing is permanent. So I came at it very much from a very technical manner. Once digital and data capture became the norm, it now was no longer about video signals, but data's interpretation of video. So, or we call it some data levels even, if you're talking in video signal. So now I'm working in a program which is interpreting that information probably more accurately than if you just did a LUT coming off the back of the camera, which do work, but LUTs, like anything else, is something that needs to be translated, and depending on who you're talking to or what system you're using, those LUTs can be interpreted. So I prefer to stay within a color program, specifically the one they're using in the lab, or have some system that live coloring system that they want to use. For example, NextLab has theirs, Colorfront has their Onset Live, True Light, Panavision Genesis and the Genesis display processor, hunk of metal. Really, that it all starts with the image. Really, it's looking, staring, focus, exposure, sharpness. I work a lot directly with makeup and hair department as well as costume. The DP usually will be good. Oh, is that good? Is that meringue? It's really going to be the technical hurdles of using a digital sensor with actors or costumes or whatever.
A lot of times when we're doing live grade color correction on the sets, that will go to the director's monitors and to anybody else that needs to see it, as well as our monitors. Some shows prefer not to have the color correction go out to the director or to other people, because then you get a lot of cooks in the kitchen saying, oh, it's too dark over here, oh, it's too light over here, that's too green, that's too blue. Sometimes it's better just to send them a 709 sort of general image and then do all the high-end color correction in a controlled space where it's just you and the DP and with a little input from the director if needed.
The set monitoring is done, well, I do it in real time, so I have the color information is already transformed from raw into a color image. More so than a Rec 709 image, which is the camera can apply a Rec 709 image and and offered around the set, and to me also. I prefer to take the raw signal and manipulate it through my color corrector, and then have a little bit better image, a little bit more accurate image with the color information, and then that information, that metadata, is sent to post. TrueLight is a LUT box. There's a lot of applications now that are file-based that are really, really good. Now, Pomfret makes one. DaVinci Resolve certainly is one, where they're becoming real-time applications. The director of photographies that I work with, for the most part, like to see it in real time as opposed to a capture, then color application method. You're still looking at the images in real time, but you're not looking at it in the actual color information that's going to be applied. It'll usually be in a Rec 709, which is a conventional 1980 by 1080 by 1920 HD signal. I can count on my hands a couple times where we've really actually set up a scene in advance and kind of predicted where it's going to be. But usually, typically, it's on site when it's happening in real time, and then we create that look. And the beauty about having real-time imaging is you can always change the imaging. You can always start from scratch and redo it. And if there happens to be a way of the image is always downloaded in its raw form, so the color information is not by any means permanent. So if there is a change in direction in terms of the way the image wants to be portrayed, it can be.
A lot of the jobs that I work on, the speed that we work at doesn't allow for live coloring, because doing live coloring definitely adds to your workload. And if you're moving from scene to scene, set to set a lot, then you might not have the time to do a live grade. It really depends on each job and the speed at which you're moving. So if we're moving really fast, then I might just use the Rec 709 built-in LUT. If I'm doing a live grade, then I will take a log feed from camera, and then take that log feed and turn it into either a Rec 709 with a color on top of it, or just a Rec 709, and we'll use the Rec 709 as a starting point.
When I give them these LUTs depends. If they want to use the LUTs to give to a field director monitor, then I give it to them then. Because with the Red, and I believe with the Alexa, you can output a different image to the external monitor compared to what you're getting through the eyepiece and what you're getting through the monitor that they have on camera. So whereas you could be looking at Rec 709 or Log C, you could be pushing out a completely black and white contrasted, beautiful film noir feel to the monitor. So when the director's looking at it, he's like, this is exactly what I want. But the DP can look at it and be like, okay, well, I'm seeing the detail here and here, so we're good, and watching the waveforms to make sure it's actually there.